The story starts with the doctor greeted Tsum asking how he was feeling that day. Tissing's thoughts echoed with frustration as he found the question repetitive. He informed the doctor about the pain in his legs, knowing well that the response would be predictable. The doctor suggested increasing his medication dosage. Called Nurse Kim for assistance. Varys Kim assured him that she would guide him back to his room. Thiesen's thoughts reflected a sense of resignation. No longer concerned with finding out what went wrong, he felt that everything was already over. When he woke up, he was left only with gazes full of pity. Monthly insurance payments and the harsh reality of being half paralyzed. He recalled the car accident that changed his life caused by a drunk driver. That day started off like any other, with him making a routine stop at the convenience store for a can of beer and some snacks to end his day. But that day, unfortunate luck struck, abruptly ending his ordinary existence with excruciating pain. Nurse Kim gently laid him down on the bed. Walt soon experienced phantom pain in his legs, as if they were being severed. He had no choice but to rely on drugs. Each night he pondered the saying that God only gives trials that one can endure, yet he openly expressed his inclination towards death with half of his body paralyzed. Tison acknowledged the limitations he faced. Reading novels became his solace, providing an escape into worlds with happy endings. Novels with happy endings offered him comfort during moments of despair. As he read a novel called Magician Who Dominates the World, he realized he was nearing its conclusion and expressed his intent to finish it by the night. The novel depicted a protagonist named Aiden who annihilated everything in his path, ultimately achieved victory, opting to create a new world. He ended the old world, erasing everyone's memories, and established a new world according to his desires. Even those who suffered traumatic deaths and held value in his heart found themselves in this new world, living as blissful winners. Tison couldn't help but express his disbelief, questioning the purpose of the main character's arduous journey, only to undo it all and bring about the end of the world. He was perplexed as to why the randomly chosen novel he read had to have a tragic ending. Tears welled up in his eyes as he exclaimed his longing for happiness. He pondered on the futility of hoping for a happy ending, realizing that even if he were to wake up tomorrow, true happiness seemed unattainable for him. As Tison opened his eyes, he was startled to see a message in front of him displaying the beginning. Magician who dominates the world. Perplexed, he quickly sat up on bed, wondering if he had just hallucinated. Confused about his surroundings, he realized he had fallen asleep in the hospital. Doubtfully, he questioned if he was still dreaming and reached for his phone, only to find it missing. Instead, he noticed a water bowl, and as he looked into it, he was shocked to see a face that didn't belong to him. Suddenly, another message materialized in front of him, shocking him further. The message revealed that he was now in the world of Magician Who Dominates the World and must live as the character named Mort Wernars. Tison connected the dots, realizing that Magician Who Dominates the World was the novel he had been reading the previous night. Moore was an extra character in the story. Confusion and disbelief swirled within him. Then another message appeared, warning that if Moore died, he would die as well. Tsung's thoughts raced as he tried to process the situation. Overwhelmed with astonishment, he attempted to stand and was astounded to discover that he could now feel his legs and stand on his own. The sensation of the wooden floor beneath his feet was vivid and real, a stark contrast to his previous paralysis. In a flurry of messages, more information flooded Tsung's awareness. His head throbbed with pain as he realized he could feel all of Mort's memories pouring into his mind. He became aware of the life Mort had lived and how it had ended. Ward Vernar was the son of the influential Archduke Vernar's family, considered a bastard son with immense power. Even if the protagonists were to unite against him, victory was far from guaranteed. However, during a magic ritual aimed at gaining full control over his psyche, Mord was ambushed and killed by the protagonist and his group. In short, Mord was an extra character with a supporting role in the narrative. Tsung's mind filled with questions as he pondered why he had become Mord. Suddenly, a new message materialized, urging him to change the fate of destruction in order for his wish to be granted. Tsung contemplated the meaning behind this cryptic message, considering that it might be referring to the ending of the novel itself. He voiced his understanding, realizing that the task before him was to protect the world from the protagonist who would eventually bring about its destruction. Tissing deliberated on the situation, acknowledging that he might be dreaming due to his weariness with his paralyzed life. However, he couldn't bear the thought of returning to his mundane existence. Whether this was a divine prank or not, he resolved not to wake up if it was indeed a dream. With determination coursing through him, he clenched his fist, recognizing the opportunity presented to him. His wish was straightforward: to regain his body as it was before the accident, yet he realized that he shouldn't settle for just that. Armed with the knowledge of the novel Magician Who Dominates the World and the powers and talents of Mord, he contemplated the challenge of changing the fate of destruction, he believed it was worth a shot. A determined smile spread across Tsung's face as he reaffirmed his decision. He wouldn't just try to save this world, he would undoubtedly succeed. Lord Vernars was a member of the Archduke Vernars family's bloodline. He was burdened with the label of being a bastard child, unaware of his mother's identity. His life was filled with hardship, starting from the tragic event where his mother passed away just days after his birth. Consequently, he was subjected to the cruel nickname of the bastard who killed his own mother. Helpless and unable to resist the torment of others, Moore's existence was overshadowed by the guilt associated with his mother's death. However, Moore's life took a significant turn when he reached a crucial milestone. Members of the Vernars bloodline awakened their powers upon turning 15. Known as the New Blood Awakening, this process involves enduring excruciating pain akin to one's entire body being engulfed in flames. However, those to survive the New Blood Awakening are rewarded with formidable powers. For individuals outside the Archduke family, the chances of surviving this ordeal are less than 1 in 5. Against the odds, Moore not only survives the New Blood Awakening but also acquires strong powers. In the final letter left by his mother, she instructs Moore to seek out Archduke Vernar's family. If he survives his 15th birthday, he follows his mother's guidance and embarks on a journey to the residence of the Archduke family, where he agrees to undergo a test to gain recognition from his unseen father. Tison reflected on his memories, acknowledging that he had arrived here shortly after Moore arrived at the Archduke Vernar's family residence for the test. Ford was an extra in the novel Magician Who Dominates the World, while Archduke Vernars played a significant role as one of the main antagonists. Tison possessed extensive knowledge about the Vernars family and recognized that since the Archduke Vernars family already have legitimate heirs, it was unlikely for Moore, being a bastard son, to be accepted. However, longing to be acknowledged, the Archduke's son, fueled by his upbringing without parents, became a leverage point for the Archduke to manipulate Moore into becoming his loyal servant. Having awakened his new blood power, Moore possessed immense strength, surpassing even that of the protagonists. However, Tison remained uncertain about the true extent of Moore's power. Tison contemplated the desire to test his own powers when suddenly a man entered the room and reprimanded him for forgetting the significance of the day. Tison recognized the man as Todd, the instructor who will oversee the upcoming test. Todd's physique and demeanor aligned with the image of a typical instructor. Todd questioned Tison about his stare, to which Tsung approached him and confirmed his identity as Mr. Todd. Todd noticed a change in Moore's tone and expression but dismissed it as his own imagination. Todd reminded Tison about the explained test scheduled for that day, focused on assessing his potential. Considering Tisung's physical fitness, despite not having received any prior training, Todd assumed Tison was capable of fighting. Tsung realized that he would have to engage in a fight but found solace in the fact that it was not a fight for his life. He welcomed the opportunity to test his newfound powers as both of them made their way towards the training ground. Todd brought up something he had mentioned the previous day, questioning if he had forgotten. Tison responded by asking what he had forgotten, prompting Todd's reminder not to disclose that he was the Archduke's son. Tison affirmed his understanding, acknowledging the unspoken rule regarding bastards. However, he believed it to be pointless since rumors about his true identity had already spread. There were even whispers suggesting that the Archduke had already met Moore before. Tsun knew that once he became official warrior, everyone would know who the bastard truly was. As they arrived at the training grounds, several trained individuals were already present, and they greeted Todd. One of the trainees, while looking at Tisung, inquired if he was the newbie being tested that day. Soon observed that the trainees appeared older than usual and suspected that they were already seasoned warriors. Todd addressed Tisung, assuming that he had heard about the distinctive fighting style of the Vernars compared to ordinary warriors. Tison confirmed his knowledge, stating that untrained Vernars used weapons, but once trained they relied solely on their own bodies for combat. Todd agreed and added that those not of Vernar's bloodline learned various combat skills and often used weapons. Soon reflected on the reputation of the Archduke Vernar's family as the continent's foremost organization of warriors known for their exceptional hand-to-hand combat skills. They had reached their prestigious position without the need for weapons. Teasing acknowledged that it might have sounded implausible, but the physical prowess of the Vernars surpassed any weapon in the world. Todd proceeded to explain that the test would determine which faction Soon should join and how he should be trained. He then turned to a warrior named Vince and confirmed his readiness. Vince confidently walked to the training ground. Todd instructed Tisung to fight against Vince, emphasizing that results of this fight would shape his future and serve as proof of his Vernar's bloodline. Vince assessed him, expressing his curiosity about his age. and pondering whose son he might be given his already imposing stature. Vince challenged Tyson to demonstrate his fighting skills, inviting him to engage in combat. As the fight commenced, Tyson sighed, acknowledging that there would likely be other bastards like Mort in the training group. It was not only Archduke who engaged in affairs, however, he pushed those thoughts aside. Focused on the task at hand, soon recognized the importance of power in this world and believed that only with strength could he achieve freedom. Although he wished for a peaceful and carefree life somewhere far away, he felt compelled to prove his skills in order to succeed. Without hesitation, Tyson launched his attack, throwing a punch at Vince. Although Vince managed to dodge the attack, he was shocked to realize that Tsun possessed fighting skills. Despite claiming otherwise, Tyson, on the other hand, was pleasantly surprised by his own agility, attributing it to the boxing he had learned as a hobby when he was younger. He realized that even though it was just a casual pursuit, it had contributed to his combat abilities. He followed up with a kick aimed at Vince, who quickly blocked it with his arms as a guard but was pushed back by the force of the strike. Vince grudgingly admitted that Tsun was skilled and accused him of lying about not knowing how to fight. Tyson, perplexed by accusation, denied any falsehood, stating that he merely imitated the others. Vince, angered by his response, launched an attack with his hand, emitting a bluish glow. As the fight intensified, one of the trainees exclaimed in shock, realizing that Vince was using mana in combat despite Tyson not having learned the mana technique. Concerned, the trainee pleaded with Todd to intervene. However, Todd dismissed his worries, allowing the fight to continue. Tyson, astonished that Vince would resort to using mana against him, braced himself for the incoming attack. Vince, wearing a cunning smile, prepared to strike Tyson with a mana-infused punch, intending to show him his place, but to Vince's surprise, Tsun managed to dodge the punch skillfully. Vince was taken aback, wondering how a newcomer like Tsun could see through the mono combat technique so easily. Looked at him with a mix of shock and disbelief. Meanwhile, Tsun's hand also began glowing with bluish mana, and he confidently declared that it was now his turn. Vince raised his arms as a guard, still struggling to comprehend how he, who had spent years training in the mono combat technique, could potentially lose to a new trainee like Tsun. But before he could fully process the situation, Tyson's punch landed forcefully on Vince's stomach, causing him to be lifted off the ground. The impact was so powerful that Tsun hurled Vince through the air. Witnessing Tyson's display of strength, everyone present at the training grounds was left in shock. Todd couldn't believe his eyes and realized that he had underestimated Tsun's abilities. He marveled at how Tyson, whom he initially considered a newbie, had effortlessly sent an official warrior like Vince flying with such power. Tyson confidently approached Vince silently, remarking on his incredible abilities. He realized how fortunate he was to have dodged the last attack. Contemplating his growing understanding of his own power, he was still somewhat astonished by Vince's resilience and noticed that Vince was attempting to get back up. Reacting quickly, Tsun assumed a fighting pose, ready to face him once again. He commented on Vince's durability, remarking that warriors must be built differently. However, his surprise grew as he realized that Vince had already lost consciousness. A trainee on the sidelines expressed confusion over how Vince could be defeated with just one punch. Another trainee questioned Tsun's origins, wondering where he had come from. Looking at instructor Todd, Tyson voiced his concern about potentially harming Vince if the fight were to continue. He admitted his lack of control over his strength. Todd considered his role as the tester and instructor and acknowledged that as an instructor it was his responsibility to gauge the potential and power of the tester by pushing them to their limits. He believed that tester should not be able to defeat the instructor. Todd then accused Tyson of lying, referring to his previous obvious claim of never having learned to fight. T-Sung insisted that it was true, asserting that he had never received formal training. Todd questioned how Tyson could possess the ability to use mana if he was untrained in the mono combat technique. Tyson understood Todd's doubt and activated mana in his hand to demonstrate his ability. He explained that he had been able to use mana after experiencing a high fever, but admitted his limited knowledge about it internally. Tsun decided not to disclose everything, believing that he didn't need to reveal all of his secrets. Todd remained skeptical, challenging Tsun to make him believe his story. Tyson hesitated for a moment before deciding to share his experience of the new blood awakening. Before he arrived at the training grounds, Tsun contemplated Moore's exceptional talent and abilities, acknowledging that Moore could use mana even before the new blood awakening, with the blood of the god of combat Vernars and the goddess of the heavens Arita coursing through his veins. Mort possessed an extraordinary synergy that made him a miraculous being. Nissan marveled at how Mord, without formal training until the age of 15, managed to surpass the strength of Archduke Bernards, who was considered the strongest among the successors of the god of combat. Todd remarked if Thiesen's words were true, recognized him as a monster. He then asked if Thyssen knew who Vince was. Tsung replied that he had met Vince for the first time that day and was unfamiliar with him. Todd revealed that Vince was a Vernar's warrior who had undergone rigorous training from a young age and had successfully passed a stringent test. Tsung's victory over him carried significant weight. Acknowledging the situation, Thyssen sighed inwardly. Todd informed him that he had scored 200 points on the test when the maximum was 100, implying that he had excelled. However, Thyssen found himself perplexed, as Todd hadn't explained anything to him until now. He expressed his confusion, stating that he didn't fully understand the purpose of the test. Todd proceeded to clarify that the test was designed to determine his current level of skill. Archduke Vernar's family had a 3-level curriculum for war warriors, and fulfilling the conditions at each level would lead to promotion to the next. Only by passing the test that the final level would one become a qualified official warrior. However, Todd emphasized that the test was challenging, often causing many individuals to encounter difficulties along the way. Thyssen expressed his desire to start at the first level and learn the basics of mono combat techniques. He questioned whether the second or third level would also cover the fundamentals, as he believed it would be more logical to begin at the first level. Todd was taken aback by Tsung's requests and confirmed that the first level would indeed teach the basics. Tsung pointed out that fulfilling the conditions would eventually lead to promotion, prompting Todd to agree. Reluctantly, Todd recognized that Tsung was serious about his decision, thought that perhaps it was for the best. He realized that he couldn't offer preferential treatment to Thyssen and accepted his choice. Todd informed him that someone would be sent to guide him through the necessities of the first level. The following day, as Tsung lay in his bed, he contemplated the smooth progression of the test and wondered if Mort had gone through a similar process. He recalled that the novel magician who dominates the world didn't provide details about how Mort became Archduke Vernar's hidden car. It only mentioned